Good evening, race fans. Welcome to another night of NAGP GT1 Thursday Night Racing. I am Ken Rodriguez, and before we go any further, I would like to introduce you to my co-host tonight, Jack Ivey. Good evening, Jack.
Hey, Kenny, how you doing tonight?
I am excellent. How are you, Jack?
Dandy as well. Off the Magny-Cours.
Welcome to another night of NAGP GT1 Thursday Night. Yep, indeed. And we are at Magny-Cours, Nevers, France. This track, Jack, I love this track. It's a 17-turn course, and it's got just about everything that it can throw at you. It's got a long sweeping straight. It's got a hairpin. It's got a couple of chicanes. It's got some technical areas, and that turn 16, 17 complex all the way at the end. Boy, what a challenge for these drivers driving GT1 cars, trying to come through there quickly, and then can meet with some fate if you hit that wall coming down the front straight.
That is going to be a touchy one, and you know what? We know someone is going to collect that wall on the right-hand side of the track after that chicane. It always happens. There's always going to be one guy, and let's hope he doesn't collect a couple more in it, because they're going to be pushing the envelope tonight, and that is a tricky combination there.
No doubt. We've seen some early practice times down in the low 132s. Chatting with some of the drivers earlier, I told them that some time ago I raced on at another location, this same track, but with some other folks, and these guys got down into the 131s incredibly fast. No doubt that that right-hand side wall going through the last chicane is going to be a touchy area, so we're going to keep our eyes on that. But we also have some other very challenging areas throughout this track as well. The Nürburgring, turn 8 and 7. That's a chicane complex where a lot of guys get caught out there cutting the track, and there is a 10% cut rule in effect tonight. Same thing through Imola, turns 12 and 13. So the drivers tonight are going to have to stay on their P's and Q's and make sure they keep it between the white lines.
Yeah, the guys who are going to be pushing the envelope, you know, they're going to have to watch it at qualifying, because, you know, they've been put on notice for this race that they're going to be watched, you know, during qualifying. And if anybody makes a cut and it happens to be your fast time, they're going to be put at the back of the pack. And talking about back of the pack, you know, from last week's race at Spa, we've got Andre Prado and Mikey Graytrix, both with no quals. So, tough break for Anger Racing with Prado going for no qual. He's going to have a hard hill to climb to get from the back of the pack up at this track.
No doubt at this track, and also with this group of folks. You know, it's different. It differs from GT2 in that while our GT1 and GT2 cars are fairly evenly matched, in GT2 you're more prone to advance if you're driving a smooth line, consistent laps. Same in GT1, but with GT1 you have a more powerful car. Your race line becomes all crucial to what you're doing around the track, and yeah, he's got an uphill battle, no doubt.
Well, out there in the early provisional lead here in qualifying is Rich Roman, followed by Jon Ludden and David Poole. The last winner we had here at the track was David Poole. Brad Maris was in second, and John Sportelli in third. So it's going to be an interesting night out there tonight. And I don't see John Sportelli out.
No, I believe that I read in the forums that he was looking for a substitute for tonight. Not sure exactly why he has to step out, but John Sportelli will not be racing tonight.
Well, boy, again, last week, a little bit of a controversy with, you know, Ian Jolicoeur, Brad Maris, and John Sportelli. They sure duked it out there in last week's race. So I guess Ian Jolicoeur's out tonight as well. He's away on holidays. So, geez, two guys out on holidays away from the race tonight. It's going to make a difference.
It is going to make a difference, and you know, I saw that fantastic pre-race show that you put together and posted in the forums, where you did highlight that battle that went on last week at at Spa. So it was quite hairy, to say the least. We know that we had Sportelli that was running on double stinted tires, which to me was beyond brave. That was almost an act of lunacy, considering that you're racing at Spa. Spa loves to eat up tires. That I know from first-hand experience in GT2. So I can just imagine what it's like in these GT1 cars.
Well, I don't know if I'd say it was lunacy, Ken, but it was a very, very bold and brave move. But back out front in early qualifying, we've got Brian Mongrain jumping up with almost a 131 flat to take the provisional lead right now.
Yep, something lit a fire under that boy's tail, because I was just watching him a couple seconds ago, and he was fishtailing that car, I guess trying to get the hang of it. Looks like he's got the hang of it all right. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, it sure seems that you know, he's got a handle on that big 4 GT this season, because he's put in some great speeds. You know, I'm looking for him to come through and show us his real mettle. But boy, he's looked really sharp at times this season.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, this, I mean, being in the top 10, top 5 is not strange to Brian Mongrain. If you look at some of the seasons past, he's been up there with the best of them and has traded paint with the best of them. So it's actually quite good to see him making his way back up towards the top. He took a season off last season, and he's back this season with us in GT1. Good to see him clawing his way back up through the ranks.
Yeah, you know, and I'm glad to see Aaron's out tonight. We know he had trouble on his Monday GT2 race. Just didn't get it in. Mongrain sets a new fastest lap, 131.024. So he is knocking on the door of the 130s.
That is just incredibly fast. I don't know what he's doing with that Ford GT, but he's got it just hooked up. And way to go, Brian. Go faster.
Now, what is going on with Alex, the White Lightning? He hasn't even pulled out to even try to make a lap. Now, we did hear earlier, folks, that he might be a little under the weather. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah, a la ale. But
it could be a Guinness or a Foster's.
Yeah, some sort of virus, right?
It is a virus, it is, and it's contagious. I just want to make a little shout out. Alex has asked us to shout out to Derek. Happy birthday to you, Derek. And he really didn't appreciate all the libations that you forced upon him tonight. So let's hope Alex is in there sweating it off and maybe getting a few coffees into him before the start of the race. Maybe he feels safer at the back of the pack.
I don't know. It could be, or maybe he just wants to prove that he can drive no matter what his condition. But either way, it's good to see Alex out on, you know, here in the race with us, and we look forward to seeing what he can pull off here tonight. Real quick, I just wanted to shift our focus right now to some points. I was looking through the forum at the recent standings that just got updated by Al, and after, what is it, 6 rounds, the Aaron Parsons actually has jumped out to about a 3-point lead over Jon Ludden, 80 points, 77 for Jon Ludden. And then Chris Moses, who has been slowly stitching together a really good season with a couple of wins in GT2, but as well as in GT1, is sitting third with 71 points.
Yeah, Brad Maris is tied with him, and Marty Uran with 51, Rich Roman with 49. Unfortunately for Anger Racing, although Anger Racing is still up in the top of the team standing with 130 points, but Andre Prieto, you know, struggling, you know, with only 34 points, and again, you know, with a no-qual tonight, boy, he's got his work cut out for him to help his teammate out for that super dominant team of Anger Racing.
Absolutely, and you know, I have no doubt that Andres can finish in the point. Given the fact that Andres has been driving injured, he's been having some back problems. We've heard his complaints in the forums and stuff like that. We wish him a speedy recovery, and we hope that whatever's ailing him will not so much bother him tonight, because we'd like to see a good performance out of Andres. But certainly the no qual is going to hurt their chances, but I still have confidence that Andres is fully capable of finishing within the points tonight.
Yep, but I know he's looking up there at the provisional poll right now. Brian Mongrain has broken into the 130s with a 130.841.
Jeez. And David Canavan not far behind with a 131.008. So David Canavan also knocking on the door of the 130s. And Canavan and Ludden are actually headed out of the pits right now.
Yeah, you know, we have got the top 9 drivers, you know, under the 132 mark. You know, a little bit of a notable here. You know, we got Big Al Merriman running at a 132.306, but right behind him is the guy who absolutely hates qualifying, Greg Myers. This is the second dynamic qualifying that he has put in, and good on Greg for that, for a guy who poo-poos qualifying so often.
Yeah, and you know what's incredible is that Greg may not be a great qualifier, but boy, once he's out on track and has gotten into his groove, there's no stopping this guy. He can start mid-pack, rear pack, and up at the front, but he's destined to go forward. It's just incredible how he drives.
Yeah, and you know what? Starting up there in the top, you know, 10 to 15, instead of back where he usually starts in around 25, is going to make his race so much easier for him. So, boy, oh boy, you know, top 5s, not going to be a problem for this guy.
No, not at all. So I see that Brian Mongrain went back out there. I wonder if he's going to try and answer his own TQ time right now. Just jumping on board real quick with Marty Uren, who is out on a hot lap as he comes up on his Sector 1 time. See what he's going to post up here. And he's just about at the Sector 1 split. Looks like he's going to be a bit over. He's about, wow, 1.3 seconds over pole time. So he's got some time to make up there. Marty Uren, who's been showing some great bursts of speed in that Ferrari F40.
Yeah, he had a great race last week at Spa. I'm looking for another great race out of him tonight.
Now, earlier in practice, I gotta say this, we saw Rich Roman drive an absolutely phenomenal race last week at Spa. He started at the back of the field, finished well within the points, and did an absolutely phenomenal job of driving at Spa last week. He was patient, he was temperate, and he drove a clean race. And I can't even remember, how many positions was it, Jack, that he made up? 20-somewhat positions?
He went from 28th to 7th in that race. Unbelievable drive.
Yep, and right now he's currently sitting in P5 for qualifying, so I believe that this week we may see something really good out of Rich Roman. I'm predicting a top 3 tonight for Rich.
Yeah, and that's not going to be out of line with your prediction. Just been racing on the edge, super smooth. It's going to be great. It's going to be great action tonight. We're going to have a whale of a barn burner tonight.
I have to agree. So Chris Moses just posts up a lap that's about 0.06 of a second off of pole time. Currently sitting in P6, driving that fast Ferrari.
Yeah, right in lockstep with Rich Roman, 131.442 to a 131.469.
Yeah, so they're splitting hairs on time right now.
And Brad Maris just picks up a spot to P7.
Tossing that Viper around that long turn that leads them down the long straightaway. Brad Maris, our resident instructor. This guy is phenomenal with driving school. You know, another person that I saw that was putting up some really quick lap times in early practice was David Poole driving the Aston Martin. He's currently sitting in P8, but I wouldn't be surprised if David tries to get himself within the top 5. He was really posting up some really good times. So not exactly sure what's causing his drop off now. He locks it up as he goes into the hairpin.
Yeah, you know, he was about just under a half a second off on that sector split there. But obviously likes this track. And, you know, this track can catch you out. There's quite a few spots where these guys are going to get caught out by maybe pushing a little too hard. As we saw last week, you know, with Alex White. I mean, you've got to be able to keep it between the lines. You've got to finish first, you know, before you can finish in first place.
Yep, I absolutely agree. You gotta first finish the race before you can finish first. That's as simple as it gets in racing. Yep. So Andrew Werner, his teammate, currently sitting in P9. Al Merriman, the boss of NAGP, out in P10 right now. Greg Myers in 11th. Marty Urin in 12th. Gub Douglas in 13th, driving the very green, mean-looking Aston Martin.
Well, T-Broke Dam Bam with Greg Myers and Parsons. We got 96 points, so they're about quick math. 34 points behind Anger Racing and Marison Prado, but they're sitting in good position right now in 4th and 11th in qualifying right now. They're sitting in good position to pick up some serious points and make a run at Anger Racing.
Yeah, absolutely. If Brad Maris can pull off a top 3, top 5 finish, and Greg Myers can stay well within the top 10, I think that they may pull in within striking distance for the following race at Zandvoort.
Well, I just want to take a little shout out to our viewers that are watching us on NAGP TV. You got any comments? You want to see any of the drivers? Throw it up in the chat room there, guys, and we'll get it on for you. I am monitoring the channel tonight for our host, Kenny Hot Rodriguez.
Yep. So Mongrain still out there in pole position with a 130.364, but Jon Ludden and David Canavan both had an answer. Although they're in the high 130s, they're in the 130s nonetheless.
Yeah, Canavan just dropped that time a little bit, but you know they're still just under a half a second behind Mongrain.
Yeah, just about that. And there's about 7, almost 8 minutes left in qualifying, so they've got some time to really put a good lap together, which, as you know, it's really hard. This is open qualifying, folks, so this isn't Super Pole type qualifying where you get 1 lap, and this is not dedicated qualifying where you go out for 4 laps and lay down the hottest lap that you can, like at Indianapolis. This is open qualifying. All the cars, except for those that are serving no quals, are legally able to get out on the track and try and find the fastest way around the course, which makes it very difficult, especially if you're very fast, come up on a slower driver. You got to exercise some patience and hope for a quick lap.
Yeah, and patience is a key here. Most of the time now, I'm on board with Canavan. He's about 0.2 of a second behind as he in the sector split he just went through. So he's going to have to really push it home if he wants to catch Mongrain. I don't know if Mongrain's catchable at this point.
I don't know. I think this late in qualifying, some of these really fast guys may be trying to push it just a little bit too hard. But here comes Canavan across and just 0.04 of a second off the pace.
Yeah, and I was just catching up with Rich Roman. He's a little behind as well. Not enough to catch, but he might improve as he's coming around the last 3 corners. Big slide there, but coming into the chicane.
Yeah, and this is always the hairy part, right? They really crank that wheel to the left, trying to stay off that wall.
And Roman is in 5th.
So I just jumped on board with Moses again, who's going out for a quick hot lap now. Just starting his hot lap. Boy, and I gotta tell you, going around Estoro, these guys are really pushing it hard. Sometimes to the point where they are putting their tires right at the edge of the track, and boy oh boy, should they lose it or put too much of that tire off into the grass, it's over.
Well, that first sector is absolutely a whale of fun if you get it right, but not much fun if you get it wrong.
No, you're right about that, Jack. There's no denying that. Yeah, Moses well behind in the first sector split by about 1.2 seconds.
Yep, and that'll put him right in where about the time he's got now. So, not much improvement there. Hey, another guy who's doing really well, you know, is David Poole's teammate Andrew Werner. So Poole and Werner right together.
Yep, certainly can't help to think that Poole's had a lot to do with that with Werner, working with him and teaching him some of the ins and outs of GT racing. So, whoa, as he takes it way
big
through,
cut,
yeah,
big cut, big cut.
I don't even think that lap's going to register on his sim. But I can't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that David's been giving him a lot of pointers and just patiently working with Andrew Werner, and the results are starting to show. No, I mean the top 10 qualifying results so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, could you ask for a more knowledgeable teammate? I don't think so.
No, not to mention this guy's a setup wizard. David Poole can set up a go-kart for you to drive around these tracks.
Yeah, one of the more knowledgeable setup guys we have got. Well, Andrew doesn't improve, and that's a good thing because that was a pretty blatant cut he had.
Yeah, yep. Gup Douglas sitting in 13th right now. He's in the pits. Andres Cole still holding steady in 14th. Houston, who was having some serious problems getting online earlier, and he luckily got it sorted out. He's in 15th, and Bjorn 16th. Sam Rolfe sitting in 17th, and Johnny McIntyre in 18th. Just jumped on board with Jonathan Cuppett as he heads out of the pits. Try and put down another qualifying lap with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to go.
Oh, I just watched Rich Roman here in the Cam 2. Big cut on that one. So, Rich, I hope that's not a big hot lap for you.
Jumped on board with Dave Canavan, who is out right now on a warm-up lap. Guess he's going to try and put down one more in answer to Brian Mongrain's phenomenal qualifying run here tonight.
Yeah, that's just a stunning time.
So, the wonder from down under, Aaron Parsons, boy, I gotta tell you, his performance this season so far has shown. He's currently leading the points, and you know, you would think that to lead the points, you gotta win every race. No, that's not so, folks. He has just been consistently in the top 5, and is stringing together a really good season to the point where he's now sitting in the lead for the Drivers' Championship currently.
Well, yeah, no big surprise. I mean, they don't get much better than Aaron, so just a great driver.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. So we are winding down the qualifying session. 1 minute, 10 seconds left to go. So some of these guys will get the opportunity to put their hot laps in, because I believe the timer expires 60 seconds or 90 seconds after the qualifying clock winds down to 0. So we'll have to see who gets that opportunity.
Yeah, it won't be Canavan. He just puts it off. He won't have time for another one. Parsons probably won't. Oh, he might get it in. He might get one in. Rich Roman coming around to finish up his last qualifying effort. This is actually looking pretty good. And he does, improves to 4th.
Yep, puts him up in 4th. Aaron Parsons down to 5th now. But Parsons is out there on a hot lap right now. We'll have to see how he does. Oh! So Parsons lock up.
A little bit of a connection issue there, yeah.
Yeah, he's over 2 seconds off the pace. I don't think he's going to pursue this one too much.
Moses trying to squeak in one last one, and he is smoking that Ferrari. This is looking decent as well.
Yep, this one is not looking bad at all. It's going to be about a 131. 1.2 seconds off the pace.
Well, that ends qualifying.
That ends qualifying. So these boys are now in the pits. Qualifying is over. So, boy, what do you think, Jack? 130s. I think that's a record, no?
It said it was a track record, so 130.364.
It certainly is. I mean, the last pole time that we had here, which was, let's see here, back in season 19, was Chris Moses. He set the pole at a 130.409. So, yep, Brian Mongrain, new track record holder.
Well, I see we got a bunch of guys up in the chat room. I have no idea what you guys are talking about in the chat room, but welcome to the broadcast. And we're going to try and get all action for us. And I'll try and keep my eye on this. This is something new for me here, but I'll keep my eye on you guys.
So we have, let's see here, we have 28 drivers racing tonight. Andres Prado did not qualify. Alex White did not qualify. Mikey Graytrick serving a no qual, and Carlos De La Torre opted not to qualify. Not exactly sure why, but these guys.
Yeah, you know, we'd like to welcome Carlos De La Torre. We don't know. I tried to get in touch with him in the chat room earlier, but if anybody knows anything about him, let us know. But welcome to NAGP GT1 Thursday night racing. And, you know, we say there's 28 drivers out there tonight. As silly as it sounds, it's a light field tonight for NAGP.
Yeah, it certainly is, given the fields that we've been pulling in lately in the last few weeks, especially with GT2, which has been nothing short of phenomenal. It is a light field. And still, it's not that bad.
Yeah, so anybody out there who wants to join us, you know, all you got to do is get in touch with the admins, get out for a shakeout run, and come on and join us. Probably a little bit more room at this point on Thursday night, but you know what? It's their mandate not to turn anybody away, and if you are good at driving like sportsmen and gentlemen, we'd love to have you out with us.
Absolutely. So tonight's race scheduled for 1.5 hours or 250 kilometer. Maximum distance would be 57 laps, and our chance of rain is average right now. We've noticed that the weather's held up nice. Temperatures have remained low enough for these guys to put in really fast lap times at 130s. So we'll have to see how the race session goes.
Yeah, we know it's always interesting in the wet, but Kenny, I like to see the guys go off in the dry. Just my own preference, maybe because I hate racing in the rain myself.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Jack, because boy, I tell you, to me, there is nothing more exciting than watching GT1 cars going full bore around the circuit in the dry. So, yeah, I have to agree with you there. And it looks like we just lost Alex White, so I guess he's not going to make tonight's race.
Oh, I guess the brew got the better of him.
Well, Alex, you're always welcome to watch the broadcast with us.
Well, we're just switching over. They're going to warm up, and still conditions dry and sunny. The conditions are still good for these guys.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure they're happy about that, and I'm pretty sure that they're wishing and hoping that the race session will also be in similar form for weather.
Well, a lot of these drivers are racing in the GT2 class on Monday night as well. And next Monday we're out to Quebec, Mont-Tremblant. And the last time we raced there, which was, I think, my very first NAGP race, might have been my second one, was in the wet. So, Kenny, we better get our thinking caps on and get some wet setups done for next week.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I briefly practiced that track earlier this week, and boy, I need some help there, and I need some time with the track to learn it. So yeah, got to get our stuff together.
So the boys are all going out on their warm-ups.
Yeah, just a little over 4 minutes left for warm-up, so still some time.
And I hope we get off to a clean start this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping that these guys tonight, these drivers, don't get antsy, don't get over anxious. You know what? You got 90 minutes of racing, man. If everybody learned to give each other space, you guys would get through that first lap with no problems whatsoever. And here's another little tidbit. This track here, Magny-Cours, is the shortest pit lane that we race at NAGP. So pit strategy are going to be crucial here, and they're going to be an overall part of your strategy, no doubt, tonight.
Well, pit strategy always plays into it every week here at NAGP. Now, I did see Carlos De La Torre is out in the Lister Storm. So I guess he's going to give that car a whirl. Not a lot of people like it. I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't mind it either, and I think that the biggest problem that most guys have with it is the fact that it's only a 5-speed transmission in that car, as opposed to the 6-speed that all of our other cars carry. So for tracks like Spa, that creates a bit of a problem, as you have to run a much taller gear ratio than a 6-speed car does.
Well, that's probably why I like it then. I got less work to do. No, I absolutely love this track. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for these guys.
I do too. There are plenty of opportunities to take advantage on this track. Down the long straightaway and into the first hairpin is one of them. You play it right, you're going to get some really serious tow off of the car in front of you, which will put you in a really good position to take that inside line away from them as you're going into the first hairpin.
Yeah, braking is going to be a bit of an issue. Let's hope we don't see too much dive bombing going on.
Yeah, Yeah, because dive bombing can certainly be a cause to ruin not just one person's night, but two people's night, or even more.
Well, the guys are all busy on the chat room there, yakking about the ins and outs of the GTR2 and the NAGP, and I'm pretty sure we've got Mr. Shubes out there on the chat room filling everybody in. Way to go, Mr. Schubeck.
Yep. He's out there.
So, Kenny, who you got for tonight?
Well, Jack, that's a really, really tough call, given the fact that Brian Mongrain just kind of upped and threw a monkey wrench into the works here tonight, because I did not expect him to just throw his hat into the ring like that. But if I were a betting man, I'd have to give the odds-on favorite to David Canavan tonight.
Good pick. Luck of the Irish. You know, I'm going to stay with the Colonial Powers. And although, well, David's from Northern Ireland, so yeah, I can say that. But I'm going to the other side of the planet tonight, folks. I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm going to Australia for the win tonight.
Aaron Parsons. So, okay, we're going to have to see how this one plays out tonight. Certainly two very good picks and two drivers that are absolutely capable of winning under any conditions. So we're just going to have to see how this one pans out. Warm-up has wound down. We're down to 0. And we should be switching over to race here within a few seconds.
Yeah, but you know what? All that being said, good luck, Mr. Mongrain. It sure would be nice to see another name up in the winner's circle.
Yeah, it certainly would. It most certainly would. And here we have switched over to race, so why don't we go ahead and run them down, Jack?
All right. On the pole, Brian Mongrain with David Canavan in second, Jon Ludden in third, and Rich Roman in fourth, and the wonder from down under, Aaron Parsons in fifth.
The pit wizard, Chris Moses, starts in P6, Brad Maris in 7th, David Poole in 8th, Andrew Werner in 9th, and Big Al Merriman, the boss, starts in 10th.
Marty Uren, who had a great race last week, in 11th. Gregory Myers in 12th. Andres Cole in 13th. Captain Douglas in 14th. And John Houston in 15th.
Starting 16th, Bjorn Heyman. Kreshnik Khalili putting in a good show at P17. Sam Rolfe in 18th. Johnny McIntyre in 19th. And Jonathan Cuppett in 20th.
John Waffen in 21st, Lou Masciarelli in 22nd, Jean-Yves Sampson in 23rd, Paul Hall in 24th, Andre Prado in 25th, and Mikey Graytrix 26th, Carlos Del Torre bringing up the pack in 27th.
And that is your starting order. We're going to go ahead and jump out there on the field. Brian Mongrain already sitting in the pole position grid spot.
And I'm at the back, keeping an eye on everything back here and try and bring what's going on in the back to you.
Yeah, going to be interesting. Got to keep an eye on those fast guys that are serving no quals.
Okay, guys, 111, 112 track temp and a 94 ambient. A tire wear is going to be brutal.
That it is, and I'm hoping that these guys actually took the opportunity to take a look at the track temperature and made the right tire choice. So here we go. Green light's about to come on. Oh, it looks like we had a little bit of a false start. They're off. Canavan jumping out to an early lead, but I think it may have been a false start, so he gives Brian the spot back.
All pretty good so far back here. I got no op.
Just quickly running through the field here to see how things are looking and shaping up. Looks very clean. We're coming into the hairpin now. And, oh, I start seeing cars bunching up. Wow.
What?
Excellent.
Well, we
work.
had Krejnik Halili off for a little bit. But very, very clean. Oh, Jean-Yves Sampson's big cut at the back here, but all looking very clean back here, Ken.
Yeah, I have to commend these guys for the start. We're still on lap 1, so I'm pretty sure there's a lot of tension and a lot of anxiety in some of these drivers, but they seem to be just holding their lines and holding themselves very, very nicely. Jon Ludden, David Canavan, they are all over each other as they chase down Brian Mongrain, but Brian Mongrain just holding it steady and not looking back. He's got his sights set forward as they come around to complete lap number 1.
Yep, back in 7th and 8th, all clean going through the chicane. Everybody getting through in a nice, tidy order here.
Absolutely, boy, but I'm just looking at these guys. They are just freight training it around here. Just jumped on board with P6, Brad Maris, who's being hounded by David Poole, who's being hounded by Andrew Werner. Al Merriman right behind him, and Marty Uren now in 10th, hunting down the boss.
You know what? Canavan had to do a stop and go, so obviously he got a false start. He is all the way back. So David Canavan back to the start with a drive-through.
Oh, that is a shame, shame, shame. So Ludden, who inherits second, pushes Rich Roman up to third, and I'm telling you, man, Rich Roman, I think, is on a mission tonight.
So Canavan starts the second lap 26 seconds behind.
Well, that rules out my pick for tonight.
Well, no, you know, we've got, what, 57 laps to go. Oh, Carlos Del Torre just had a little bit of an incident and slid into David Canavan, but I think Carlos got the worst of that one. He's back on track now.
Ouch. Boy, Krejnik Halili, like, yeah, you did say that he had an off. He started 17th, currently back in P24, now being hounded by Paul Hall. David Canavan in P26, and Carlos De La Torre, who's probably still trying to get a handle on that Lister Storm back in P27. But up front, your leader, Brian Mongrain. Hey, he is just putting on a show tonight, followed closely by Jon Ludden, Rich Roman, Aaron Parsons, and Chris Moses. That's your top 5. And hey, Brad Maris now sticking his nose in right behind Chris Moses, saying, hey, can I have a peek here?
Yeah, and we got Poole and Werner in behind them, so, boy, it is close action, top 8. Top 9, Al Merriman coming up to challenge the Aston Martins. Incredibly close. Marty Uren is still in the lead pack here with the rest of them, so they're all staying in contact.
Yeah, absolutely. Marty Uren, again, he had a great race. We've mentioned it several times. He had a great race last week at Spa, looking to repeat his performance from last week. Currently in the top 10 and not letting the lead pack out of his sights.
Talking about not letting the lead pack out of his sights, Andre Prado up to P12 already.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, where did he come from? Look at that, all over the tail of Andres Cole. Will probably make light work of this one. I don't know, boy. From the back to 12th. Oh, yeah, wow.
Man on a mission.
He is the mom of the night.
up a little closer, we've got, 1, 2, 3. Boy, oh boy, we've got Magny, Ludden, and Roman. And Roman is not going to let these guys get too far out of sight. A little bit of a gap going back to Aaron Parsons, but, as these top three battle it out, Aaron is sitting in the driver's seat, literally.
I can't help but wonder what happened to Steve Mongrain. That's Brian Mongrain's brother. They started out the season as BS Racing, but Steve apparently maybe real world issues caught up with him, and he's had to put sim racing to the side. So if you're out there, Steve, and you're watching, we hope that you can come back and join us for some great Thursday night GT1 racing.
Yep, complete the BS Racing team.
Yes, sir. So Ludden not letting him out of his sights. 0.7 of a second lead over Ludden Mongrain has, and Rich Roman about 1.7 seconds back from there. So Mongrain and Ludden starting to pull away just a wee bit here.
Yep, a little farther back, Chris Moses trying to keep this breakaway 4-pack in sight. And he has got Brad Maris all over the back of him.
Just caught up with you, Jack. And yes, Brad Maris, whom we know is a very patient driver, likes to pace himself, doesn't like to overcook the car. Strategy here for Anger Racing, I can't tell you, but if their past races are any indication, they're going to keep that Viper running as far into the first stint as it can go.
Yeah, it's pretty easy on fuel, so it may take them ways. We have lost a driver. I'm not sure who it was.
I am almost sure that it was Wathen. Jon Wathen may have dropped.
You are correct, I believe. I don't see him in the listings here.
Yeah, I believe it was Wathen that dropped. So, still on board with P5, Chris Moses, and watching how Brad Maris has repeatedly stuck his nose side by side with Chris, but Chris not willing to let it go. We know that Chris has been putting in some extra practice time in both GT2 and GT1 this season. He has wanted to make his statement that he has not gone anywhere, and he's still got the stuff to run with the best of them.
Well, I'm just checking the lap times there, Kenny, and Rich Roman right now has got, I think he's got pace to make a move here. If he can get around Brian, but maybe he doesn't want to get around him right away, but I can't believe that. But it looks like he has pace here.
Well, I can tell you this. Ludden sits between Brian Mongrain and Rich Roman, and I believe that if Ludden were in any way whatsoever start to put a hamper on Roman, whereby Mongrain starts getting away, I'm pretty sure that Roman will start trying to look for a way around Ludden to not let Mongrain get too far ahead.
In Andre Prado, he has just broken into the 132s as well. So everybody running in the 132s up in the front.
Yeah, these guys are just ridiculously fast. Oh, we lost somebody else.
I'll try to figure that one out for you, folks. Oh, Halili. Thanks to the guys up there on watching the NAGP TV feed.
Yep, thanks indeed. That made our jobs easy just now. So Prado up to 11th, hounding Marty Urin right now, who is chasing Big Al Merriman, and no doubt Marty Urin's got to be saying, "Man, let me by. I really don't want this Prado guy to be behind me."
Well, they've got some work cut out for them here. I mean, 3 great drivers, Ferrari, Viper, and boy, oh boy, Andre sure closing the gap on that last corner.
Andre with a little bit of damage to the back of his car. Don't think it's going to hurt his straight line speed too much.
Well, it doesn't seem to be suffering him so far.
Well, that and the fact that he's shed all of the ballast that he's had, right?
Yeah, you know, a couple of them, you know, it's... well, it's too bad Alex couldn't make it tonight because he shed his weight for this race, too.
Andre's pulling right up on the bumper of Marty Urin. He's going to take a look on the inside, down the front straight. Decides better of it and holds off.
It looked like he was going.
Oh,
and there's
Al
Big
Merriman
Al into the kitty litter.
Into the kitty litter. He's off the track.
He's going to lose 2, maybe 3. Andre Cole passes him.
Wow. Wow, Merriman back to 12th.
Hang in, Al. Lots of racing yet.
But yeah, this battle shaping up between Prado and Marty Urin. Marty Urin not giving an inch to Andres Prado, even though it's, at least from where I'm sitting, it's pretty obvious that Prado's got some of the pace here. And we have an off up ahead. Oh, that's Delatorre in the Lister. He decides to go wide and let the leaders by.
Yeah, it is hard to believe, Ken, we're only on lap 7.
Yeah, and yet they're racing like it's lap 57, right? So Werner, sorry that we missed this, folks, but Werner gets by Poole for P7. David Poole getting a little squirrely. But your top 4 now starting to put a little bit of a gap on Chris Moses in P5.
Prado making the move. He's got the pass made.
Oh, so Prado up to P9 now sets his sights on the Astons.
Marty trying to answer back. Whoa,
oh.
whoa. We've got Marty into Prado. And, oh, here comes Andre Cole and Big Al Merriman. Prado dashing the lights at Marty. Marty gives him the spot. Still lots of time, boys. Settle down.
Yep, settle down. But it does give Andres Cole 9th position.
And gets Al Merriman back up in the hunt after his little off into the kitty litter. And just a little farther behind those guys, I've got Gup Douglas putting the pass on Gregory Myers, and Gup makes his stick and goes around that big Aston Martin is just cranked out tonight.
Yeah, that it is. I just caught up with you after the pass, but nonetheless, looking good for Gup Douglas.
Yeah, you know, Gup's having a great season this year, and good on him. You know, it's just great to see him up there. He's been one of the longest inning members at NAGP, so I'm glad to see Gup's having a great season this year.
A little further behind these folks, John McIntyre and John Houston having a bit of a battle of their own as they come into turn 1. John Houston looking to put the moves on John McIntyre. So it is the John and John show for Ps 15 and 16 right now.
Yep, the Aston against the Koenigsegg.
Jonathan Cuppett making his way up to 19th. Mike Greatrix in 20th. Paul Hall in 21st. And Jean-Yves Sampson driving the other Big Ford GT, currently sitting in 22nd. And Carlos Delatorre The last of your running order into P23 right now.
Yeah, Louis Masciarelli has lost his engine. Lou, you better get on with your mechanics and get that straightened out for next week.
Fire them all and hire an entirely new team.
Oh, I don't know if that works. I've tried that before, Ken. I can't afford good pit help anymore.
Yeah, they'll make you go broke, They'll make you go broke, Jack?
Oh, well, they're just frustrating. I fired so many pit crews. I don't think I can get another one to work for me. Back out in front, you still got your race leaders, Mongrain, Ludden, Roman, and a little farther back is Parsons. So they are keeping it tight up here, 1, 2, 3, 4.
They are, for the most part, they are. So Parsons is not letting them too far out of their sights. But I believe that Parsons is using a little bit more of a laid-back strategy right now, probably because the McLaren, again, it's a very hot track. The McLaren mid-engine car loves to heat those rear tires. And if he continues to smoke them going into corners, he'll be having to pit sooner rather than later. So I believe his strategy is don't let him get too far ahead, drive clean and smooth, try not to lock him up, and try not to scrub him too much. But the top three don't seem to be following that strategy.
Yeah, I think he made mention last week that he ran out of tires at Spa. And he could be having the same problem this week. But boy, up front, Ludden is all over the back of Mongrain. I mean, all over him. So this is a phenomenal battle going on here.
Yeah, this is a great battle for first going on. But Mongrain doesn't seem to be too phased. He's just driving a very smooth race right now and seems a little ho-hum about it.
Well, nothing to be ho-hum about because Jon Ludden has really jumped up to be one of the forerunners here in GT1.
Yep, no doubt that Ludden likes the faster cars. We don't see Ludden in GT2. He's a GT1 racer, and he loves the speed. Not to mention that he seems to have figured out that Pagani Zonda pretty well, too, for this season.
Yeah, he sure has.
Roman sitting in P3, not too far behind Ludden.
No, he's about a second back.
But I have to tell you, it's a pleasant surprise to see Mongrain up here running in first, leading this pack of very talented drivers.
Yeah, we've got, Rich Roman about 4 seconds behind him is Parsons, and about 4 seconds behind him is Maris. And Chris Moses and Brad Maris are going to be tangling at it and doing battle.
Yeah, we didn't catch it, but Brad Maris getting by Chris Moses. So Brad Maris currently running in P5, Moses in P6. Poole in 7 and Werner in 8th. Boy, these guys are just, Werner losing it a little bit. Getting it into the kitty litter. Boy, and he's got Prado right behind him now.
Yeah, and Prado's only a couple of seconds back, so look out. In about another 2 laps, Prado will be looking for the pass. And a little farther back, we've got Merriman chasing down Marty Uren. Only about less than a second separating these two.
So we lost Canavan. Looks like Canavan decided to call it quits for the night. Marty Uren sliding his car around that corner.
Another good battle going on is Greg Myers and Gup Douglas.
Just jumped on board with Gregory Myers, who's chasing down Gup Douglas. Yep.
Yeah, you know, and Gup's done a great job after he got by Gregory to hold him off. So, you know, look for Greg maybe a little later in the stint. You know, he's so smooth, he usually saves his tires, and that keeps his lap times a little more consistent towards the end of the stint.
Johnny McIntyre in 14th. John Houston in 15th. Andres Cole in 16th. Sam Rolfe. We've not spoken much about Sam Rolfe this season. He is driving a Ferrari 575 this season. Currently sitting in P17.
Yeah, well, he's John Sportelli's teammate, but he hasn't been out for as many races this season as probably he'd like to. But doing all right. You know, hang in there, Sam. You're only one out of the points. Just getting a pass put on him there by Bjorn Heyman.
Yep, we're watching that action right now, and Bjorn Heyman seemingly walking away right now.
Yeah, a little bit of a slow corner there for Sam, and Bjorn just blew right by him.
Yeah, also gave Jonathan Cup an opportunity in that C5 Corvette to close the gap to Sam Rolfe. So we'll have to see what becomes of that. But right now, Sam Rolfe seems to have gotten back on the throttle and put his head back in the game, and he's moving it forward. Mike Graytrix running in 20th right now. He's a bit back from Jonathan Cuppett, but hoping to make up some time.
Yeah, I was just checking out the leaders. They have just gone by Carlos Del Torre, who's done a great job of letting all four of your leaders go through without incident.
Very good. Yeah, we have 22 drivers on the lead lap still. Paul Hall being the last. The last driver on the lead lap currently. So these guys are putting in a good effort here tonight, Jack.
Yeah, you know what? I hate to go back 14 laps ago, but the start was very, very clean. I think that sort of set the tone for everybody to go out and drive their own race.
Yep, I believe so. And you know what? I'm keeping a very, very close eye on Rich Roman right now. You know, Rich has not allowed these guys much breathing room in terms of putting a gap on him. I'd just love to know what's going through Rich Roman's mind right now and what he might be strategizing as the pit rotations get closer.
Well, Rich has been fairly steady in his lap times, within about a half a second of consistency. So he's driving a very consistent race. You know, sitting in that P3 there in behind these leaders, anything happens up front and that gap is going to instantly disappear.
I couldn't agree with you more, Jack. And again, you know, I really would just love to know what he plans to strategize, because he's just not giving up. You know, and after having seen his race last week, where he strung together a great series of laps, I'd like to know what he's going to be up to here tonight at Magny-Cours.
Okay, jump on back if you can to Andre Prado. He is coming up to one of the Aston Martins, and he is going to put the move on them momentarily.
Yep, just jumped on board right now. We'll go to television view and see what Prado's got in store for the Aston Martin up ahead. Andrew Werner. Oh, De La Torre getting mixed up in there. They are trying to avoid De La Torre and putting him out of the race. And that will give Prado the inside line, but Werner not giving up. And Werner conceding the spot to Andres Prado. who now takes over P8.
Yeah, very interesting few corners there for Andre Prado.
We all know that Andres Prado has been driving with an injured back, so I'm wondering if he got a hold of the medication I was on for Monday's race.
Quite possibly. Well, maybe he's got a better physio guy.
There you go. Or a really good working back brace, but phenomenal run being put together here by Andres Prado.
Well, the separations are pretty good from everybody. They're all pretty much running their own races. Andre's got quite a ways to go to catch up to David Poole. Moses and Maris are separated by a couple of seconds. Parsons about 4 seconds in front of them. So your closest racers out on track right now are John Houston in 16th, Andre Cole in 15th, but your race leaders, Magny, Ludden, and Roman, putting on a show tonight for us.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's incredible, however, that that margin of a gap has not increased or decreased between Ludden and Mongrain for the past 17 laps. Incredible.
Yeah, and about the same. Roman is hanging in there. Mongrain's got steady laps in the 132s, 133s. Ludden is matching them lap for lap. Roman about the same. They're all running a very similar race pace.
Yeah. Incredible consistency out of these top drivers. Phenomenal.
As I'm going down and checking the lap times, all the way through, David Poole had a little bit of a slower lap on the last lap, but all the way down to P7, P8, they are all consistently, 132s, low 133s. So all the way 1 to 8, they're right there.
Just on board with Andres Prado now, as he seems to be wanting to hunt down David Poole.
Well, he's got a little bit of work cut out for him. He's got about 4 seconds until he catches David Poole.
Yeah, and 4 seconds with these fast guys at times can turn into an eternity. But Prado driving like a man on a mission tonight. John Houston hunting down Andres Cole, who's currently running in P15. Houston looking to take that away. Houston in the last points paying position. He probably wants a couple more points than just one. So look for him to be pulling up on Cole here very soon, and an ensuing battle for that P15 to follow.
Yep, it is amazing to me that Mongrain and Ludden and Roman have just kept so consistently spaced out. This is going to be, if this stays the way it is up until pit rotation, this race may end up being one on pit strategy and pit timing.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we're not quite there yet with the pit rotations. These guys are able to go, I believe, on one stop. So, let's say maybe somewhere around lap 28, we might start seeing some of these guys rotate in.
Yeah, I think so as well. And they're probably going to have to keep an eye on tire selection again, because we're still at 110 degrees track temp and 87 ambient. The skies look sunny. It looks like we're gonna, without any big issues, we may run hot all the way through.
Be careful what you say there, Jack, and don't jinx the race, man, because this is GT2 and anything can happen. But no, I have to agree with you there. The skies are sunny, and it looks like we may just end up finishing this race in this type of weather. So I just switched over to Brad Maris, and the reason that I switched over to Brad Maris is because we've seen Anger Racing use a strategy this season that we've not really seen before, in that they have been running taller gear selections on the Vipers, and that in turn has allowed them to stay out quite a few number of laps extra than the average GT1 car. So I'm just wondering what the strategy is going to be here today with the Anger Racing Vipers.
Well, I'm just following back along Chris Moses and Brad Maris as they have gone through some traffic, and Chris has closed the gap up again. Man, a big charge on Brad now.
David Poole in 7th, Andres Prado in 8th. Not really closing the gap on Poole that much.
Now they've got about 4 seconds work to get up to David Poole. Now, back up, Ludden and Mongrain. Ludden all over his tailpipe. You might want to jump up on that action.
Oh yeah, I'm there already. So we're watching this as we're actually on board with Mongrain right now, as we see that Ludden is starting to pull within striking distance of Mongrain.
Yeah, is that big Ford GT eating its tires up? Whoa! Oh, and he bounces off the wall, and Ludden on the inside.
Oh, that's going to let Ludden by.
So that's the first mistake I've seen out of Brian Mongrain so far this race.
Well, just quickly looking at Brian Mongrain's times, they're slipping a little bit, where he was consistently running 132s and very low 133s. He's starting to slip into the mid 133s, and this last lap was a 134. So could it be tire wear?
Well, just, you know, fractions of a second back, folks. Rich Roman, I think Rich has saw this and said, me too, I'm coming after.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I still think that Rich is pacing himself, doesn't want to overcook his tires. It's very hot out there.
Well, Rich has got him in sight now, and you know, oh, we've got Mongrain with a big stutter there.
Yeah, Brian Mongrain getting hooked up and caught up. So we caught that on the broadcast, but he is still running in P2.
Yeah, you know what? That is unnerving when that happens. Rich Roman was probably going, what is going on there?
Yeah, and for those of you folks that are watching the broadcast, as you know, in most cases, most of you know that that can just cause a car to warp right in front of you and ruin your whole night.
So a little farther back, we've got Andre Prado.
We got the boys in the chat room telling us that Paul Hall took a DNF for the night.
Ouch, ouch. Well, his teammate, no DNF there. He's out in front.
Yep, you got that right. So Ludden Wonder what Ludden's going to do here now. Is he going to try and establish a gap, or is he just going to probably run the same race that he was running the entire time? I think these guys are giving it their all, but within reason. And Brian Mongrain trying to get his position back as he pulls up on Ludden.
Well, Mongrain's lap times have slipped a little bit. His last lap time was a 1:34.4. And Ludden's a 1:33.6. So Ludden has got a little bit more pace on him right now. He could possibly stretch this out a little bit.
Yeah.
And Roman showing a 1:33.6 as well. So, you know, Brian is going to come under the grips of Rich Roman in a few laps. Although, boy, Brian's not letting Jon get away with this at all.
No, and oh, he gets really close. So, you know, it wasn't contact. It was a clean pass. Unfortunately, Brian Mongrain taking the outside wall, coming down the front straight on the right-hand side, slowed him down sufficiently enough to let Jon Ludden by. As you know, once Jon Ludden's got clear track out in front of him, he's going to capitalize. He's going to push it to its limit. He's going to try and establish a gap and establish his dominance over the race field. We've seen this in past races. Jon Ludden has come into his own, whereby he's developed a good strategy that seems to be working really well for him race to race. So it's a good thing to see.
Yeah, you know, these guys being so close, 1, 2, and 3. If I had to flip a coin here, guys, who's going to be the best at pit rotation? I got to think Rich Roman is going to have a little bit of an edge. I mean, there is just so much experience there.
That there is. And Rich Roman has been driving an absolutely fabulous race tonight. Has held down P3 since lap 1 and has not let it go. He's just, I believe he's just been pacing himself.
Well, we just have to let it play out, Ken.
Yep, that we're going to do. So just jump back to P6. Chris Moses hunting down still Brad Maris. So this has been one heck of a battle for these guys. Brad Maris taking it sideways through the big curve.
Yeah, two of our wily veterans racing for P5.
Boy, I tell you,
gee, Brad, you know, Brad is starting to drive. He's looking like Chris Moses out there.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it looks like this hot weather is starting to take the toll on the rear, on the Viper's rear tires. Like you said, he's looking a little bit like DK out there, the Drift King.
He sure is. Now Ludden has opened up a bit of a gap there to Brian Mongrain. Not much, about a second and a half.
Didn't see who we lost. Trying to get an idea of who we may have lost here.
Yeah, I tried to take a look. Whoa, Andre Prado giving poor Carlos Delgado, well, Del Torre, sorry, a little bit of a side check there. And move out of the way, please.
Del Torre being a good sportsman tonight. He's taking it in stride. Looks like he's learning how to drive GT1. Oh, Andres Prado into the pits.
Into the pits.
Interesting strategy. Let's take a look here.
Yes, lap 25.
Looks like Andres Prado is going to stretch that second stint and go for the win. Might work. It might work.
Well, you know what? He may be looking. We're still 160 degrees of track temp, 83 ambient. You know, he may be saying, tires are going off already. I'm going to a harder compound, and I'm going to push to the end here. And he is definitely dropping positions. He may end up all the way back to 20th before he gets out.
But you know how these things work in the pit rotations. Things kind of sort themselves out. So I believe that Prado's strategy here is shorter first stint, longer second stint, so he can just focus on racing till the end.
Yeah, but you know what? He's probably thinking, now I got to go past these guys all over again, because they still have quite a ways to go until the pit window. I mean, they're at oh no, we're getting pretty close. We're getting pretty close. He's at running lap 26.
Yeah, I believe maybe lap 28, 29, we're going to start seeing these guys start making their pit rotations. And again, this is a short pit lane with not many pit boxes, so I hope that not everybody is on the same pit strategy, because you will have some folks certainly upset about not being able to pit.
Well, you know, I did ask Brad Maris if we could do a pit rotation interview, and he was more than gracious to say okay. I took that as a positive note, so we may grab Brad when he gets up on his jacks, as he is currently running in P5 right now.
Very good, very good. I'm actually on board with Bjorn Heyman and Sam Rolfe, who are having a little bit of a battle going on as they just go into turn 1. Mike Greatrix now moves up to P17. Andres Prado back out on track in P18. So he's got his work cut out for him still, but things will get easier as these guys start to pit.
Well, it definitely is going to be interesting when the leaders come in.
Andres Cole is in the pits.
Chris Moses in the pits.
Yep, just saw that on the cam.
You're right, that short pit lane makes this really quick in there. And looks like we've got it looks like Greg Myers in the pits.
Yep, that's Greg Myers coming into the pits now. Moses' car goes up on the jacks now.
So, our strategy of the Viper, staying out late, that didn't prove out too insightful on our part, as Andre Prado was the first in.
Yep, but Brad Maris is still out there. Chris Moses leaves the pits in P17. He's got one of the Paganis coming up behind him. I don't think that's Ludden.
And Brad Maris in the pits.
So, nope, it looks like Brad Maris decided to split it right down the middle, 50-50.
Brad Maris, NAGP TV, how's it going out there?
Yo, Jack Ivy, it's going just okay, my friend.
Well, you and your teammate look like you're putting on a real show out there. You stay at it, Brad.
You got it, Jack. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Brad. Well, there you go. Brad putting on a real clinic tonight. Don't want to keep them too long there, folks.
Yeah, these guys are very busy in their cockpits as they make their pit rotations, making sure they're taking on just the right amount of fuel. So don't want to disturb them too much.
Mongrain's rolling. And Roman is out in front of Mongrain. The fuel sipper Corvette is got out in front of the big Ford GT. And you know what? I think Brian is going to have his hands full trying to get that spot back off Rich.
No doubt. Andres Prado up to P12 right now. And he's made his pit stop. Mike Greatrix in 13. Chris Moses, also who has made his pit stop, up to 14. David Poole coming out of the pits in 15. Andrew Werner 16th. Jonathan Cuppett currently into the pits in P17. John Houston also in the pits in 18th. Greg Myers now in 19th. He's already made his pit. Andres Cole in 20th. Jean-Yves Sampson 21, who's in the pits. And Carlos De La Torre still out there running in P22. Jon Ludden, your leader, now into the pits. And he's held on to that lead right now. So we're going to have to see how this plays out. He's in the pits, but Marty Urin in the pits now. And Al Merriman coming into the pits. Gub Douglas will inherit 4th spot. And let's see here. I think that Ludden may get out before Roman makes it around.
Al Merriman, Broadcast Central here. It looks intense out there. How's it going?
Not too bad, Jack. Just a couple mistakes out there. Cost me some time, but got a nice race going here with Marty. Hopefully I can beat him out.
Absolutely. Keep it up, Al.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks.
Big Al Merriman. Like I said, Ken, I didn't want to keep these guys too long. I know it's a short pit lane there, and they are busy tonight.
It is, and Jon Ludden getting out of the pits in first. However, Rich Roman right on his tail. I see a battle brewing.
I just caught up with you there. Mongrain is in P3. So Rich and Brian have swapped spots, and it's going to be all up to Ludden to see if he can hold off the hard-charging Roman. But Roman is right all over him.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit hard because we know that the Corvette can outpace the Pagani Zonda. However, Jon Ludden, he's driving brilliantly. He's not giving up too much room. He's driving the racing line. He's staying smooth and fast and essentially saying to Roman, Roman, you want this? You're going to have to fight for it.
Oh, I know Rich wants this in a bad way, and Ludden with a little bit of a bobble there. You know what? I've been watching Rich Roman on that last corner coming out of the chicane. He is the one driver that is staying well off that wall. Everybody else gets a little bit of a pucker moment there, but boy, he keeps it well off that wall there.
Oh, Roman puts it off in the sand just a little bit. Allows Ludden to get away. This would have been the opportunity he needed.
And that gave Mongrain a big... Rich giving a little sideways. And Brian Mongrain all over the back of him now. So, boy, we're just picking up where we left off, Ken.
Yeah, essentially. So Roman looks to be just slightly overdriving the car a little bit. Maybe getting a little anxious and trying to make up for mistakes. Just settle down, Roman. We still have plenty of racing to go. Just get into your groove.
Yeah, it just looks like he is a man on a mission, and he wants that win tonight.
Going to go a little bit further back. Brad Maris manages a 4th place position after the pit rotations. However, Aaron Parsons now all over the back of Brad Maris.
And those guys have got the top 3 cars in sight.
And right behind them in P6, Andres Prado. So Anger Racing up in the top 10. It looks good for them.
Yep. That looks like a Ferrari or a McLaren sandwich to me.
Boy,
with some Viper toast on the outside. Boy, oh boy, is right.
Chris Moses running in 7th. David Poole in 8th. Andrew Werner running in 9th. Marty Uren picks up right where he left off with a P10. Al Merriman right behind him in 11th.
And that's just how Al called it. He said he's got a good race going on with Marty. So, again, you know, it's just a continuation. It looks like they rotated through the pits just as they wanted to. Roman had probably a stellar pit, but just gave it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I remember hearing Al saying that he was hoping to get out in front of Marty Uren to keep him behind him, but unfortunately it doesn't look like that happened coming out of the pits, but they are having a great battle nonetheless. Moving a little further back, Gregory Myers in P12, Gup Douglas in 13th, Andres Cole 14th, and John McIntyre running in 15th right now. Looks like he's being chased down again by John Houston in 16th.
Yeah, it looks after the rotation like Greg Myers got out in front of Gup Douglas. You know, that's all I can assume because Gup has been running a stellar race and was out in front of Gregory up until the pit rotations.
Mike Greatrix in P19, he is getting bombarded by the leaders as they come by to lap him right now. Looks like Maris and Parsons and Preto now getting by Aaron Parsons, it looks like.
Yep.
Boy, that had to be hairy for Mikey.
That's got to be hairy for both Parsons and Preto as well, as Parsons is right back at Andre Preto, and they're less than a couple of hundredths of a second apart from each other.
Boy, I tell you, you'd think these guys are racing for a $10 million prize tonight. They are putting on a phenomenal show of brilliant driving.
Well, I thought that's what the ultimate prize money was for the grand champion.
Yeah, and Monopoly money. So great battle going on right now for P5 between Aaron Parsons, Andres Preto.
Yeah, that's some close racing. And you know, Parsons is actually chasing down Anger Racing.
He certainly is, but wow, Andre's taking a little bit slow through that first corner complex right there. Gives Parsons an opportunity to pull up on his bumper, but it looks like the Vipers got the legs down the straight.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say it looks like the Vipers taking it a little slow. I was thinking just the opposite. I was thinking, boy, that McLaren is sure boogieing through that corner.
So one of us is looking at the glass half full, Jack.
Yeah, well, now we have got Roman down to P3, so Mongrain has gotten by Roman.
Yep, just caught up with that action right now. I see that he is all over the tail of Mongrain. Mongrain not willing to let this one go. He got the TQ tonight. He feels he can win. He's driving like a winner, and good on Brian Mongrain for putting on a display of driving skill the way he is tonight. He's got Jon Ludden right ahead of him.
Yeah, you know, 1, 2, 3. You know, this action just gets better and better every week, Ken. I just can't believe how tight the racing is here at GT1.
Yeah, it's gotten so much better. And again, we're seeing new faces crop up in the top 10. This is a good thing to see, but tonight is absolutely incredible. Brian Mongrain putting on a display of brilliant driving. You know, and he's on fresh tires, so he's probably got a little bit of pace on that Pagani Zonda. But Jon Ludden, boy, I tell you, he's a great driver, and he's just keeping it smooth and consistent.
Well, you know, the next closest battle we got is back in Big Al and Marty Uren. And Big Al looks like he may just be getting set up to put the moves on Marty.
Yeah, their race out there looks like a lot of fun. Nothing beats the challenge of competing against another driver in this league, whereby you're both just giving it your all and trying to hunt each other down. It's the spirit of competition here at NAGP, and no doubt that the boss and Marty Urin are having a good time out there competing against one another.
Now, a little further back, you know, we've got John Huston and Johnny McIntyre, you know, lockstep. They've been going at it for most of the race. I know we haven't been giving you much loving, boys, because it is so tight up at the front. But these two guys back here have been duking it out all night long.
They have been, and I'm pretty sure that Jon Huston really wants to shed that 1 point position for a better points paying position. And to that end, I'm sure that he is driving at his best. However, it just looks like John McIntyre is also on his game tonight and not giving much to Jon Huston to play for. He's not giving him much play.
Yeah, you know that Koenigsegg seems to be, he's catching him in the corners, but that Aston just seems to have that big grunt in straight line speed and being able to pull away on the faster portions of the track.
Yeah, there's no doubt that the Aston Martin certainly has top end over the Koenigsegg. It's just the way the cars are designed. Their engines and transmission packages work them out that way. However, great drive by Jon Huston, certainly trying his best to get past John McIntyre for that P15 spot.
Yep, absolutely great racing. And it looks like Huston is, you know, if he's going to do it, this is the time. This first set of corners is just so critical to nail this coming in off this long corner into the straight areas. Just not enough to pull the trigger.
Mike Graytrix giving David Poole enough and ample opportunity to get by, and they do so because Mike Graytrix in a very heated battle with Jonathan Cuppet. As you remember, Jonathan Cuppet was out in front of Mikey earlier in the race, but looks like through the pit rotations, Mike took the advantage and got out earlier. He is now trying to hold off a very hard charging Jonathan Cuppet for P19.
Yep. You know, it is just mind-boggling how close the racing is from front to back here. Now, just give you a little update as we're coming up the traffic with our leaders, Jon Ludden and Brian Mongrain. They are bumper to bumper, and Ludden has turned his lights on, I guess, as an indication to say to the lap traffic, please get out of my way.
Yep, they are coming up on Sam Rolfe right now. I don't believe that Sam Rolfe is in a heated position battle right now, but the leaders are coming up on Sam Rolfe. Gonna have to see how this plays out. Will Sam Rolfe give them sufficient and ample room to get by? And he does. Well,
he does, but that allowed Brian to, you know, get a little later on the braking, and he just grabbed some curb there, but still lots of lap traffic. Oh, good on you guys. They moved right over to let these leaders through.
Excellent, excellent. And they've got some more.
I gotta say, Ken, you know, I gotta say, this has got to be the best group of guys to race with anywhere, hands down.
Oh, absolutely, hands down. I mean, we've got
Mongrain all over the back of them.
Just caught up with you, Jack. Wow.
Intense, and here comes Rich Roman.
Roman trying an inside move. They touch.
Oh, he does. He gives him a little bit of the chrome bumper, and Roman just like flies through now.
Yep, I believe that Roman may have been thinking, you're holding me up, let me by. Okay, I'm going to take it. So now Roman inherits P2, and he immediately pulls up on Jon Ludden.
But Mongrain's not done. He definitely not done. Just got to settle down, Brian. Put your nose to the grindstone, and you'll be right up there. Just to wait for the next little mistake between these top two guys. I can't believe how intense this is.
Yeah, this race for the lead has got to be one of the most intense races that we have ever covered here at NAGP TV. And you know what? I said it in the forum earlier this week. Being the track that it is should make for some great racing, and we are getting that here tonight. We're getting great racing, front to back. Nobody's excluded here.
Yeah, you know, I wish I was out there.
You and I both.
No, I'm only kidding you. I'd rather be up here in the booth. This is and Roman with a little bit of a slide, but Mongrain just wasn't close enough to take hold of that opportunity.
So Andres Prado getting by his teammate Brad Maris. I guess Brad Maris gave him the go-ahead. Get by and see if you can catch those guys up front. So again, 57 laps. We're scheduled for 57 laps. We are currently working lap 38. So there's a lot of racing. There's 19 laps of racing still left to go, Jack.
Yeah, you know, 4 or 5, Prado Maris. Another great showing for Anger Racing.
So Prado,
and Andre Prado coming from the back like he did, that's just incredible.
It is.
You know, this is going to put Anger Racing way out in front.
That it is, and I've got to tell you, Andres Prado, man on a mission tonight. He's only got about 8 seconds to make up from now till the end of the race. Not impossible. Hard and difficult, absolutely, but not impossible.
You know, your top 3 teams.
Andres Prado taking the outside right wall, puts him on his lid.
Wow. And
he parks it.
He's out.
Oh, he is out. He knew it the moment he hit it.
Unbelievable.
That leaves but one Viper out there for Anger Racing to try and bring home the points. Wow, and we caught that on the broadcast. We caught the entire incident.
Hey, you know what? That leaves T-Broke Dam Bam, you know, which is Aaron Parsons and Greg Myers, currently running 5 and 12 in a great position to move up on the points standing. So what a terrible turn of events for Anger Racing. But you know what? I knew that corner was going to catch somebody sometime. Always does. I wouldn't have said it was going to be Andre Prado, though.
No, I certainly would not have thought so, considering that they are the front runners in the team championship. I know that Andres Prado did not intend for that to happen. Andres would never intentionally jeopardize the team championship. It's just one of those unfortunate mishaps that do happen in racing.
And you know, I go back to what I mentioned earlier. You know, the guy who has taken that corner the cleanest still seems to be Rich Roman, who is currently sitting in P2.
On board with your leader, your race leader, Jon Ludden, still pacing the field.
Yeah, so just a little quick rundown here. You know, we've got Ludden, which is still holding about 0.8 of a second over Rich Roman. Brian Mongrain has slipped back a little bit there. He's about a second behind Rich Roman. And then we got quite the gap going back to Brad Maris, about 8 seconds behind. Parsons, you know, big gaps between Parsons, Moses, Pohl, Werner, Marty Urent, and Marty and Al are still at it. They're still pretty close, but everybody has got a comfortable gap between them, so it's more of racing your own race to the end now, folks.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the way it is. Gregory Myers and Gub Douglas not too far behind Gregory Myers, may be looking to advance one more position before this race is out. Myers in 11th, Douglas in 12th. Andres Cole still just steady Eddie in P13. John McIntyre in 14th and John Houston in 15th, who now has the leaders 1, 2, and 3 coming right up on its tail. And John Houston says, you know what, I want no part of this. I'm going to go wide. You guys go ahead. Have fun.
Well, they, 1, 2, 3 are so close together. It's a smart move. You've got a bit of a gap between you and the car in front of you. Just let them go through. Let them go through clean and get back on your normal pace.
Yeah, no, he had a little bit of a battle going on. He had a bit of a battle going on with John McIntyre before these guys came up. So now John McIntyre has stretched that gap. However, McIntyre has the leaders coming up on him. We'll have to see what McIntyre does. And you know what? These things tend to work themselves out because the trailing car gives way. Eventually, the car that you were battling with in front of you also is going to have to give way. And guess what? Gives you the opportunity to pull right back up on him.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to hand it to Carlos Del Torre. He is still out on track. He's a number of laps down, but good on you, Carlos. Hang in there.
Yep, we got to get Carlos into the broadcast booth and find out what his deal is, what his angle is. He's raced a few races here with us already at NAGP. Very quiet person, doesn't conversate too much, so we're going to have to grab a hold of him.
I just am back on board with Big Al Merriman and Marty Uren as Marty's coming up onto lap traffic, flashing the lights, trying to get through. Getting around, that's Carlos Del Torre, but that's let Al close the gap up on Marty again. So these guys have been, like our four front runners, these guys have been duking it out for the whole race.
And make no mistakes, folks. They make no mistake whatsoever. This takes concentration, it takes focus. And in the concentration and in the focus and in the heat of competition, this all just makes a big, giant gumbo of fun.
Yeah, as you have said before, the cars are virtual, but the racing is real.
Oh, absolutely. This competition is by no means not real. This is very real. You may be sitting behind a computer, but your adrenaline is pumping just like any real race driver out on a real race course.
I'm up front with your race leaders, and Rich Roman seems to be putting on a little bit of a push. He is closing the gap up. He was as far as 8/10 behind, but now he's up around 5/10 behind. He's just about half a second behind.
Brian Mongrain still trying to find his way around Roman. Brilliant racing by these three tonight.
A great three-way race going on here for the win tonight. Temperatures have dropped a little bit. We've got track temps down to 93, which are going to help maintain some of the tire wear late in the race, and the ambient is 70.
Very interesting. Different from when we started. So Marty Uren up to 9th. Al Merriman in 10th. These guys are still battling since the drop of the green flag.
I'm just checking the timing here, the lap timing, and Rich Roman is actually, I think Rich is going to push for a pass, not too late, maybe another lap or so. He's got to do it now. We got 43 laps left. He's got 13 laps. I think there is time to do it if he can just keep it smooth. But Mongrain all over the back of Roman now.
Just jumped on board on the hood cam with Brian Mongrain as he nearly puts it into the back of Roman. But he checks up. They come through the chicane. Down that front straight to do it once again.
Yep, getting a few little bobbles out of Brian, but we've had a few bobbles out of Rich as well. The only guy who really is on autopilot, it looks like, is Jon Ludden.
Yeah, I mean, Jon Ludden is just driving his race. I'm sure that Ludden is well aware of who's behind them. I'm sure that Ludden knows that this entire race has been them three up front battling for that lead. But Ludden does not look like he's going to let anybody by. He's just going to drive his race. Jump.
Well, you know, I'm just jumped onto the timing board there. Brad Mayer sitting in P4, and right behind him, and I don't mean right behind, but in behind him is Aaron Parsons, and Parsons appears to have some pace over Brad. So another half a dozen laps, and Brad is going to come under some pressure from Aaron Parsons. So some late race pressures going on here.
Bjorn Heyman out due to an accident, so Bjorn Heyman is out.
Well, Parsons had a poor last lap, and that has allowed the gap to close. So Parsons is only 4 seconds out in front of Chris Moses, but Chris Moses' lap times have stayed really steady. So we've got an interesting finish coming up here, and still back there, Al Merriman and Marty Urin are still within 2 seconds of each other. So boy, oh boy, they put on a great show for everybody tonight.
Yep, they certainly have, and I've just jumped on board with Jonathan Cuppett, who managed to get by Mike Greatrix and is now hunting down Sam Rolfe for that last points-paying position. So Jonathan Cuppett chasing down the Ferrari of Sam Rolfe.
Yeah, that's good on Mr. Cuppett. We're missing his teammate tonight, Ryan Schleif. I don't know where he is, but a few of the drivers are out tonight. Yeah, Jonathan Cuppett giving Sam Rolfe a whole lot of rear view action there.
Yeah, great race going on back here in the back of the pack right now. Jonathan Cuppett smelling the points, no doubt. Gonna try and take it away from Sam Rolfe.
Yep, and I'm just keeping an eye out front, and it is still Ludden, Roman, and Mongrain. But Ludden has got not a real comfortable lead, but enough that the immediate pressure is right off him.
Yeah, and you want to know something? I got to tell you this, that Pagani Zonda is probably a little better on tires in this type of conditions than the Corvette and even the Ford GT. The weight difference between the Pagani and the Ford and the Chevrolet probably at this stage of the game will give it a slight advantage over the other two cars.
Yeah, I just watched those 3 leaders all go around the last turn of the chicane there, and boy, that Ford GT does not like those curbs at all. It's just you know, taking too much curb, and it's not responding well over those curbs, so that's not helping that out. But boy, that Pagani sure seems to be stretching it out now.
Absolutely, Jon Ludden putting on a brilliant race. He is, however, coming up on Rich Froman's teammate, Andres Cole.
Oh, well, you don't think any shenanigans will be going on there, do you?
I don't think any intentional shenanigans may be going on, but this is racing.
Yeah, you know, and it's all about where on the track the pass is actually going to happen, because there are some places where you just cannot help but hold up who's coming in behind you without wrecking yourself, and that's not the intention here.
Absolutely. We don't want anyone to think that this is the intention, but what we're saying is that there are certain strategies that do come into play, and the fact of where they are on the track, where you can and cannot pass, may have some sort of an impact on how these drivers get through.
He gave Ludden the flash of the lights, but Ludden just didn't have the snot, so he came through. Now he's flashing him again, saying, try now again. And of course he held right off there and let them both through, and probably yep, now here goes Mongrain through. So good on Andre Cole. You know, on the main straight, start finish straightaway, he gave him the opportunity, but Ludden just didn't have the snot to take advantage of it. And now down into it, oh boy, Rich Roman and Cuppet and Ludden. Holy.
Oh, wow. So Roman, trying to get on the throttle early, starts spinning those rear tires. Boy, he's sniffing it right now. Ludden's probably saying, ho, wait a minute, I'm going to get out of here. Oh, and Roman trying to go to the inside. They touch. No harm, no foul. But boy, Brian Mongrain now up on their tails.
Well, he's let Ludden know that I'm doing it, and I'm doing it on the next lap or so. It's my opportunity here, so I got to go for it. But Mongrain rated behind, and Mongrain's looking on the inside now, and Mongrain's, does it have the snot? No, I don't think the big Ford has got it. He just doesn't have the horses to. Yes, he does. He's taking it on the inside. Oh, and he overcooks it. Whoa.
Yep, took it too deep into the braking zone. That didn't work out for him. But he's going to
back at him again.
Blow right by Roman down the front straight.
Yeah, Rich just didn't have a great line on that last corner. And that's probably the first time I've seen Rich take that corner poorly in the whole race. Yep. Jon Ludden is saying to Brian Mongrain, thank you very much for giving me just a tiny bit of breathing room. But boy, are they closing up in the braking zones here.
And that's no surprise. We are entering the closing laps of this race. So this is it. Do or die, man. If you want to take the win, you're going to have to push your car to its limits at this point.
Yeah, and they've got 6 laps to do it in.
with as fast as these guys are going, is not much time to get it done in. So
now I just jumped back while you're up there with the leaders, but I just jumped back, and David Poole is trying to run down Chris Moses as well. So we've got a great battle going on there, and we also have Gup Douglas a little farther back to Greg Meyer. So they are battling it out here, folks. Same with John McIntyre and John Houston. They're still battling back there. They are fighting in the closing laps of this race.
Oh, the boss decides to take a cut, and just to save some time, it looks like he lost his gap to Marty Uren. Al Merriman running in 10th right now.
Yep, he is about 5 seconds back right now, Marty Uren, so that is the biggest gap they've had all race.
Jonathan Cuppett still trying to find the way around Sam Ralph. Not happening right now.
So Mongrain got by Rich Roman.
Sorry we missed that, folks. Yep. Oh, actually, we didn't. We saw when he took him down the front straight. Yes. We did not miss that, so they are still in the running order that we left them in.
Yep.
I don't know. Looks like Ludden might walk away with this one.
Well, I wouldn't say, you know, 8 or 9 tenths of a second is a walk away, but you know, that's about as big as a gap as they've had in the last 10 laps. So Rich has got his work cut out for him.
Brian Mongrain giving it his all, trying to get back to the top of the leaderboard where he started this race. He's got some damage to the front of that Ford GT, though. Might be hampering his efforts here.
Well, Mongrain is registering 1 cut lap.
Currently, they are working lap 51.
So, as the leaders battle it out, Sam Rolfe hanging on to P16 with Jonathan Cuppett in behind him. Mikey Dratrix a little farther back. Jean-Yves Sampson down a couple of laps, and Carlos Del Toro is off the pace by a few more. It would appear to me, Ken, that you know, Rich has just fallen off the pace a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt that he has. I'm sorry, I was just on with John McIntyre and Sam Rolfe. John McIntyre getting past Sam Rolfe for that P15. And Jonathan Cuppett still trying to get the edge on Sam Rolfe, but they have one of the Ferraris between them. Mike Ratrix in 18th, Jean-Yves Sampson running 19th, and Carlos De La Torre in 20th. So, yeah, getting back up to Rich Roman. It looks like he's falling off the pace just a little bit, and I can't help but think that that might be due to tire wear. So much pushing and so much pushing certainly is going to eat up your rubber.
Well, that Ferrari in behind Sam Rolfe is Big Al Merriman. And now they might be holding Al up a little bit, but he has got quite a gap between him and Greg Myers, who's running in 11th. So Big Al on the outside coming along to make the pass, and it looks like Cuppett as well is having a look. So, we've only got 4 laps left.
Ludden coming up on Jean-Yves Sampson on the outside. Wow, gets real close to that outside wall.
Brian Mongrain right up behind Jon Ludden now. I think Mongrain knows he's got to do it, and do it quick if he's going to.
Yeah, Mongrain no doubt feeling the pressure right now of trying to take the win away from Ludden. Not an easy task. Ludden driving his race, not ignoring who's behind him, but not giving an inch.
Well, he held off the hard-charging Rich Roman. Will he be? Oh, and Ludden goes wide. And Mongrain up behind him. Ludden locks up a little bit. Mongrain sniffing it. Not quite enough on the inside, but boy, oh boy, Ludden is coming under intense pressure from this big Ford GT.
Jumping on the hood cam with the Ford GT of Brian Mongrain right now.
And I'm not sure about your feed there, Ken, but it almost looks like we're getting a little bit of stutter out of Jon Ludden's car.
Yeah, just picked that up. Not sure if it's a stutter coming out of Jon Ludden or even maybe Brian Mongrain, given that I'm on board with him. So could be one or the other.
You know, and I just noticed, I don't know how Brian is keeping this car going as fast as he is, because I just picked up on the wingman. That Ford GT has got some nose damage on it, but it sure doesn't seem to be affecting his speed tonight.
Nope, not so much. He is holding it together really, really well.
Now, Rich, after that hard charge, has fallen back. He's about 5 seconds off the pace. You know, in the closing laps, we've only got 2 laps left to go. You know, I guess he has conceded this one. Probably burned out his tires. Maybe suffering from some engine health. But looks like he's got a comfortable 10-second lead over Brad Maris. So he is probably just going to finish this one out. And he looks like he's got a handful of car on his hands.
Yeah, no doubt. And like I said, this late in the stint, no doubt tire wear has a lot to do with it. He pushed it really hard, gave it his best. Didn't quite make it happen, but hey, P3, very respectable. Nothing to balk at. Great points up in P3 to help you along for the championship. So certainly a valiant effort put in by Rich Roman. Can't take anything away from the effort that he's put in tonight.
Well, I think this is the last lap, Kenny.
Yep, we're going to jump on board with our leader, Jon Ludden, as he makes his way down to the hairpin turn for what could be the final lap.
Yeah, and you know, after all he has fended off tonight that, you know, Rich Roman and Brian Mongrain have thrown at him, you know, he has just done a superb job.
Yeah, he certainly has. He certainly has. He hung in there with the top 3 the entire race. Pit rotations came a couple of bobbles later, and Jon Ludden inherited the lead and has not relinquished it for any reason whatsoever. So should this be the final lap, a very well deserved win by Jon Ludden, and a great job being done by all of the finishers here tonight at Magny-Cours.
Couldn't have said it better. And just to let you know, this is going to put Jon Ludden on top of the drivers' championship race.
Yep, that it is, and there you have it. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see here.
No.
Brian Mongrain having to come into the pits last lap.
Out of fuel. Out of fuel.
Oh. Oh, almost out of fuel. He's gone again, but he comes out in P5 now. And it looks like he's... Chris Moses is going to get by. Oh, man, oh, man.
So, I'm sort of stunned. Is this David Poole in the pits as well? If these guys run out, you know what? This has gone an extra lap, and they have not realized.
I don't think that they may have planned their fuel accordingly.
Nope, they ran 1 lap short of fuel. Now, has Ludden got enough to finish?
Well, he's got 1, 2, 3 more corners. Let's see what's going to happen here. Let's hope he does. Ludden taking the checkers.
That's it.
Roman will finish second. Brad Maris coming around for the final chicane to take home the third position and its points. Aaron Parsons will end up inheriting a position and finishing in P4. Here comes Chris Moses in P5. Brian Mongrain will finish in 6th. Still racing going on out there on this field. Andrew Werner currently in 7th with Delatorre in front of him. Delatorre will finish now, but here comes Andrew Werner to finish in 7th. Marty Uren in 8th. David Poole taking the last turn to come across the finish line in 9th. Al Merriman, the boss, in 10th. Gregory Myers still running in P11 with a hard-charging Gup Douglas in P12.
Yeah, those two have been at it all night.
Greg Myers coming across the line and followed closely by Gup Douglas. Andres Cole will finish 13th. John McIntyre in 14th. Mike Graytrix will score some points in 15th. Jonathan Cuppett still making his way around the track. He is still racing. P16, Sam Rolfe in 17th. Jean-Yves Sampson in 18th. John Houston will finish in 19th. Carlos Delatorre in 20th. Bjorn Heyman in 21st, and Lou Masciarelli will finish out in 22nd. And that is it, folks. That is your race.
Well, a stunner at the end there. I mean, I just can't believe Brian with miscalculation in fuel.
And not just Brian. We saw Poole come into the pits on the last lap as well, no? So
yeah, you know, was it that extra lap? I mean, we figured 56, but it went an extra lap, so it must have cost him.
Well, max laps here tonight, Jack, were set for 57, so we finished right on the correct lap. We finished on 57 laps.
Yeah, just a bad calculation. Maybe, you know, they were just running too fast, you know, too hard. Running too high RPMs, but just a bad calculation. You know, an extra half gallon, man, put it in if you got the room.
Yep, absolutely. You know, an extra lap or two of fuel, I don't think it's going to kill you too much, but what a phenomenal race we had here tonight at NAGP. So we're going to go ahead and sign off now, and really, any closing thoughts, Jack?
Another super race. You know, they're off to Zandvoort next week. Unfortunately, Kenny, I will be away. I'll be in sunny Florida, but don't get too excited. I'll be inside working all week, so it's not going to be any joy down there. But it's going to be another exciting race, and it was a joy to be here with you, Ken. So we'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks.
Okay, and signing off for Jack Ivy, I am Ken Rodriguez. Thanks again for joining us tonight on NAGP Thursday GT1 Racing. We will see you next week from Zandvoort. Have a good night.